Welcome to AstroTalks with Los Angeles-based professional astrologer Astro Chris, your source for weekly astrology, spiritual talk, and moon magic. Your energetic support is much appreciated, and I thank you for your 5-star rating. You are a star. Gracias. Now, the big player this week is going to be the new moon in Leo. Everyone has a Leo house in their natal chart. I do offer a free birth chart calculator where you can get a natal chart and it'll come with an explanation of your planets, the meanings of those planets, and most importantly, the house. So as you can see in this chart, Leo is ruling the 12th. Every ascendant will have a different Leo house. So you can then locate where there's new beginnings, because that is where it's happening. It's the Leo house. It's happening at 5 degrees. Now, before I get into the new moon in Leo, there's other things that we need to cover, because this week is a mixed bag. Actually, this week was the week that we were waiting for. This week and next week, as us astrologers had already seen a lot of the shakeups and unpredictability and turn of events that this week would bring to us individually within our lives and also on a mundane level. Now, you do have to have planets in certain degrees triggering these movements, changes, and transformations, but everyone will feel it whether you have planets aspecting or not. Now, let's start with the week. We start off Tuesday with Mercury making a square to Mars. Now, whenever Mercury and Mars are aspecting, we tend to speak very quickly. We have very little patience. The mind is running like 10 miles a second. And when it's aspecting Mars, it becomes way more aggressive and assertive and more determined to get its point across. It's an argument aspect. Typically, if you see this in synastry, you can pretty much predict that the relationship will have a lot of issues when it comes to communication, because Mercury and Mars squaring makes tough one-sided arguments. So it's not harmonious whatsoever. So that's the first thing that we're seeing. Now, Mars is very close to Uranus and also very close to the nodes. So at the same time, Mars is also forming or applying a forming square to Uranus. This is going to amp up the energy, as we're going to be more nervous, feeling more overwhelmed. Now, the better manifestation of this energy is having a lot of ideas coming in and a lot of push through to go after these ideas, because Mars is going to be pushing through these things like, do it, do it, do it. Don't just think it, do it. So that can actually cause a little bit more of the nervous side of this aspect to come out. And also some people might have like a little bit of restlessness when it comes to speech or speaking in public, or maybe even going to an interview where they have to kind of shine. Now, Leo energy is emphasized because Mercury is in Leo, so you are going to be able to shine, but you're going to feel like you are not communicating as clearly because the mind is just working overload. So the best thing to do is to pause, take deep breaths to connect with air and calm and center the mind, and just think of affirmations that assist you in communicating clearly. I would put some bullet points or notes so you're able to deliver your message much more clearly. Now, this situation could be applied to other things too, not just going on an interview. It could be in regard to just say an argument you had with a friend or a spouse, partner, etc., instead of talking to them as not just you will be feeling this aspect, but they're also going to be feeling this aspect, it's better to send a text message. Now, I wouldn't send the first text message because you might say things the wrong way or it might come across the wrong way. So do take your time in writing out carefully what it is that you want to communicate. And you'll see that it's probably going to be like the third or fourth revision that is the best sounding, and you can send that over. So that is a remedy. It is going to take more time. It is a signature of being very impatient, but the good quality of this aspect is that we are going to get so many ideas. I would carry a notebook with me so you can write all these ideas down. I would also use this energy intentionally, as this is great for any type of unblocking of creative flow. So if you are a writer and you just feel like you are in a slump, or an artist of some sort, or anything that requires creativity, composing music, poetry, whatever it is, and you've been feeling, oh, this is crap, or writer's block, I can't write, or you read you read your draft or whatever it is, or your blog post, and you're like, oh, this is not making any sense. Well, during this week, because you are going to be getting a lot of mental stimulation, you're going to get some ideas. Now, it's not going to be easy focusing, so that's why I want you to write these ideas down. Once the energy calms down, you're going to review these ideas and you're going to see you got some awesome epiphanies, like some awesome things that you channeled, so you can then take action on them at a later time when you don't feel as overwhelmed. So that is what's happening with Mercury throughout the week. Now, Mercury is also squaring the nodes. It's going to square the North Node in Taurus, and it's going to square the South Node in Taurus. This is checking in with us in regard to our evolution. Mercury is asking us, did you really speak your truth? Did you really let this out? But again, at the same time, Mercury makes a trine to Chiron. So in regard to our karmic evolution, Mercury reminds us that yes, some of this stuff is painful. Yes, some of this stuff you prefer to keep hidden, but no, it's not the best for your true ultimate healing. Now, Mercury makes it much easier to heal because a trine to Chiron is easy flow. This is healing through logic and discernment. So let it all go and declare this chapter in your life closed, done with. You no longer need to continue rewriting or maintaining the story plot. It is done. It is complete. Embrace that a new you is coming. Now, this doesn't mean that you are not going to feel emotional, shed some tears, or maybe feel frustrated because people don't understand your point, or vice versa. You're not getting the pushback from other people, whatever it is. That is something that you do not need to contemplate. This is something that they need to deal with, and you just take accountability for what you need to take accountability for. There's an amazing gratitude practice or gratitude meditation mantra. It's called Ho'oponopono, and this Hawaiian practice is said to have healed a institution of mentally ill people of all sorts of mental diseases. And the people actually didn't recite this. The counselor hired there recited it for the people, going around saying, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. Now, those words seem very simple and very simple to say, but they're very powerful. And as you're saying these words, you hold lots of love and gratitude in your heart. So you start with, I love you, meaning your love is unconditional. I'm sorry, This is taking accountability for your part. Please forgive me. This is with gratitude, just asking, let this pass. Let this no longer be part of something hindering us, holding us back, or storing in our DNA, so then we can pass it on to other generations. We no longer need to program our DNA with this sorrow, with this pain, with this blockage, fear, whatever it is. We don't need it. And thank you. That is the ultimate gratitude. So as you're saying this prayer, you just continue to share love from your heart chakra. You'll see that you'll find so much harmony and peace. And this is something you can repeat over and over and over until you see big shifts in your life. There is an amazing teacher that teaches this. You guys could just Google Ho'oponopono and you'll see I'm actually trained in this, and I practice this meditation style for many years, and I can tell you it's healed a lot of generational trauma and behaviors that were passed on in my family, and I was the one that was able to break a lot of those generational blockages, curses, things like that, because I took accountability. So if you're feeling pulled, if you're feeling scared, if you're feeling anxious, just repeat this mantra. You'll see it'll give you lots of solace and peace. Now, there's a crystal that's been calling me, and I'm going to recommend its use during this week, and that's bumblebee jasper. I actually really love a lot of the jaspers. I find them very grounding, but not all jaspers are created equal. Now, any crystal is a friend. Like I said, any crystal is a friend. But there's certain qualities that crystals have that assist us with different things in our life. And also they have their own vibration, frequency, and energetic imprint. Now, bumblebee jasper is the crystal of change and accepting change. And with the aspects being aligned, Mars conjuncting Uranus, and both of these planets conjuncting the North Node at the same time. And then we're having a square from Mercury to these planets conjuncting the North Node. It's all about being able to accept the change. So this crystal is going to assist us in not fighting with the flow, but going with the flow, even though it might be turbulent or might be uncomfortable, or you might have to be of support to others that are going through this energy and they're being faced with having a lot of changes in their life. You can be the rock for them, and you can also be the person that embraces these changes. It's like that salmon that swims against the current, so it could return back to its home and then lay offspring. However, there's also a softer journey, and that is when it goes back to the sea and it's going with the flow of the river. And this is something the salmon volunteer to do. This is their cycle. This is their natural living pattern. So they know that there's a time that they have to go against the current, and they show their courage and they succeed. They build strength and stamina and determination. And koi fish do this too. So channel the determination and the agility and the strength of these animals, these characteristics that are positive in times of change and times of perseverance, so you can go with the flow more easily. Now, you're not just swimming along. This is swimming. You're going to get tired, but you're going to have the stamina to go through with it. Well, now that we got through some of the rocky things this week, let's talk about the new moon in Leo. The new moon in Leo is going to have the signature of Mercury squaring these planets. So it is a evolutionary signature. It's also triggering points of eclipses. So Mercury's right here, like taunting some of that eclipse energy. Did you change? Did you do? It's like checking in. He's considered to be in a point called the wobble, and that's in the middle of the eclipse season, which connects a square aspect, or the bends. That's another term for it, the bends. So he wants us to be accountable. Now, Mercury, again, ruling speech, sales, merchants, children. We're going to see a lot of topics around that. Now, I'm not necessarily going to give you medical advice, but I am trained in medical astrology, and this is not medical advice whatsoever. But I am going to tell you what gets weakened when Mercury is being bombarded, especially with squared aspects, and anything that's ruled with Mercury is going to be sensitive, and that's going to be the lungs, the hands, the visual motor system, the nervous system, and that there's co-rulerships of the nervous system as well. So be very mindful of those parts of your body, the arms, as they might be prone to accident a little more with that square to Mars, and then maybe even spasms, because Uranus causes muscular spasms. We have Mars conjunct Uranus, and it's squaring again Mercury, so maybe even some hand cramping. Make sure at the end of the day that you're massaging your limbs so you can kind of channel that energy out. This is also a good week to do some Tai Chi or yoga practice. So this is like light stretching. I wouldn't recommend any type of heavy lifting because accidents could happen, but you definitely need to be exercising. Mars rules exercise, so the more you channel Mars energy, but more like sturdy and steady because it's in the sign of Taurus, the better it is going to be for you. So avoid some of those accidents. Now, again, going back to the new moon in Leo, we do have this new moon forming at 5 degrees, and it's also forming a beautiful applying trine to Jupiter. And this is what brings a little bit more anchored hope. Now, if you have any planets in Sagittarius or planets in Aries or Leo, then they're either going to make a conjunction or receive a trine from Jupiter. But if you have planets in Sagittarius, you're going to be forming a grand trine. So this is actually going to help you to navigate this challenging week and the next challenging week. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to be excluded from everything. It could be, but it also just means that you're going to be given a little bit more support because you're forming that fire grand trine in your chart. We also have Venus at 12 degrees in Cancer. Now, this is a Venus that is conjunct or about to conjunct Sirius, and this is a fixed star. This star in astrology is known to be a very benevolent star, and it brings fortune, luck, riches. Now, it is said that the United States has the sun conjunct this fixed star, and it also has the ascendant conjunct another starseed constellation, which is Antares, which is a Stargate portal. And it was said by an Akashic Records teacher of mine that this date, the 4th of July, was not chosen randomly. This was a specific date that was chosen to invite more of the energetic frequencies of starseeds and evolve the collective. So Venus conjuncting the USA's natal sun will bring more emphasis to this Sirius star constellation. At the same time, there's also Lilith conjuncting Venus. So there's something happening that is connecting the traditional Eve expression of Venus and the Lilith expression of feminine to unite. And they're uniting right on Sirius. Actually, Lilith is closer to that point fixed star than Venus, but they're both very close there. Venus is at 1251 and Lilith is at 1324, and Sirius sits at 13 degrees, and I forget the minutes. So themes around females, the female integration of both alpha women and omega women is going to be really highlighted. In addition to the moon already being in the rulership of kingdom, because Leo is a kingdom, you're going to see that women are going to be feeling much more empowered. And the Venus is also forming a sextile to Mars and the North Node and Aquarius. It's not an exact sextile, but it's also bringing in some support. So it looks like star seeds, Syrian star seeds, are providing light codes to evolve and help us transmute during this time. Jupiter is also quite strong, as he's going to be stationing retro a little bit before the new moon. And when a planet stations retro, even though the retro period is more internal, the stationing points are very strongly felt. So Jupiterian energy is stepping up to provide some divine guidance and optimism in a time that we're going to see big Aquarian revolution breakthrough. And that is also through having Saturn at the 23rd degree with white moon Lilith. So matters around money and spirituality are going to be highlighted through feeling maybe blocked or too restricted of some sort, because Saturn brings that type of restriction. But at the same time, these processes need to happen so we can take a different road, so we can see different scenery, so we can take a different perspective. But in general, the Saturnian energy is like stepping on the brakes, while the Mars energy is stepping on the accelerator. So they kind of cancel each other out, but they could also break the engine. So it's a very mixed bag, but we do have some planets providing that support. So it does seem like some people are going to experience more of the extreme, while others are going to experience more of the side view and seeing the rest of the people kind of struggling, but they're going to be there for support. Vice versa, if you're the one that's struggling with this energy, you're going to see some amazing changes if you go with that flow. Now, a sky watch tip that I wanted to let you guys know to witness is around Tuesday and probably Wednesday, Venus and the moon will be rising together. So this is a disseminating moon. It's getting closer, it's a balsamic moon actually, getting closer to a new moon conjunction. However, it is going to be visible in the morning sky for about 45 minutes to an hour, something beautiful to watch and witness, so you can embody the energy of the Sirius stargates. Now, when they do conjunct together, they'll actually be at about 10 degrees and 11 degrees. The moon, I think, is at 11, so they're not going to be exactly conjunct Sirius, but that star gets a 2-degree orb, so you can still embody that energy, and you get also some of that Lilith as well. So why not get up early and embody both Venus, Lilith, and Sirius? This is also a very unique cycle with the Sirius Lionsgate portal, as Lionsgate or August 8th is celebrated as being one of the first days where you can see the fixed star Sirius rising. The rising of planets were very important in Hellenistic astrology, in Egyptian astrology, and Mesopotamia. So this would indicate new beginnings. It would follow that. There's also an alignment to the pyramids, and it's not just the Egyptian pyramids. There's a lot more pyramids that align to this. I am going to be doing a sun meditation challenge. If you want to join me on that, there will be a link in the description below, and we are going to also meditate during the Lionsgate portal, and I'm going to do a meditation attunement for that energy so you can embody that energy of Sirius as well. I am a Sirius Starseed, so I am actually very fond of the mythology and the fixed sign meanings of Sirius. So this is another reason why I always host Lionsgate portal workshops and events, because I have an affinity to this fixed star. Now we end the week with some serious grounding, as Mercury is going to form in opposition to Saturn, and this is going to be later Saturday night, Saturn's day, or some places are going to feel this on Sunday morning, Sun's day. And this is what we were building through or pushing through, like the opposition was forming as Mercury was squaring. So Virgos, Geminis out there, any Virgo placements and houses, you're going to feel this very strongly. Be very, very careful. Make sure you preserve your energy. Any of the fixed signs, Leo, Scorpio, Taurus, Aquarius, are also going to fix this, because that's where the planets are all playing. So it looks like the majority of the planets are feeling this energy in some way or another. So be very careful this week. Open your heart. Make sure you look at those synchronicities. Appreciate what you have, appreciate the relationships you have, and again, carry that notebook so you can write down all these wonderful epiphanies, ideas, channeled messages, whatever you want to call them. And then you can take action after you explored some of the restrictions, fears, blockages, insecurities that you've been feeling that are going to then no longer be the case after Mercury separates from the opposition to Saturn. Now, next week is going to be equally as turbulent, because we started off with Mars conjunct the North Node, and then the next day it makes a conjunction to Uranus. So after these 2 weeks have passed, it's going to settle down a little. It might not normalize for a while, because the North Node and Uranus are going to sit and stick around together for quite some time. But you will definitely feel some of the valve pressure releasing after the end of these 2 weeks. Thank you so much for being here. Your support is much appreciated. Don't forget to catch me live on Mondays at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time with the Healing Gem, where I host Ask the Astrologer segment, Astro Talks. Thank you for your support and your energetic exchange. It's much appreciated. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and comment below. Let me know how your week is doing, and always stay curious. So, what's in your stars?